The VA secretary gets upset when Congress starts pinging questions left and right, especially ones directed at the Undersecretary for Health, who is the person in question about this whole VA scandal in the first place. What we're going to do is watch a short clip from the hearing that happened on June 4th of this year, 2024, and then I'm going to show you the supplemental OIG report talking about Dr. E's involvement in the VA scandal. Pretty much what happened is at first he said he didn't know. Now that's not the case. Some could say that he lied. I don't know. We'll just have to figure that out for ourselves. Okay, but let's go ahead and take a peek at this clip here from the hearing.
Much, Mr. Chair. Secretary McDonald, thank you so much for being here today. I have to tell you that out of all the committees that I serve on, and all the people that come before us, I give you credit. You always come in here and take the licks when we're asking the difficult questions, even whether we agree or not. You are always here. I appreciate you taking ownership and testifying before the committee. However, I wish we had an opportunity to hear directly from Undersecretary Elnahal and Undersecretary Jacobs, as their actions raise the most questions. When do you think that we'll be able to have them before us?
Look, I thought it was important for me to come because for the reasons I've just spelled out, which is I feel responsible for this. And, and
I appreciate that. Yeah, I truly do. However, the members on this committee, I assure you, they had the direct questions for Undersecretary Elnahal. They want to hear directly from the horse's mouth. Obviously, being in charge of the Veterans Administration, then you ultimately have to direct everything.
Right.
But they are the ones that took the actions and directed what took place, and that's why we really need to have them in here.
I think our entire agency, we've tried to be available to the committee. We've tried to be responsive to and transparent with the committee. I get it that we have some back and forth where we fight about that, but I think the founders had that in mind when they created this Articles 1 and Articles 2 of the Constitution. So I have every expectation that they'll continue to come up here before this committee. So, and I've noticed that you never withhold on your questions. So, but I thought it was very important for me to be here to.
Again, we just want to make sure that the people who took those actions are here to answer the questions. So as soon as soon as you can urge them to be before us, it would be greatly appreciated.
We'll continue to be transparent with this committee and engage with this committee. Absolutely.
Okay. The OIG report states that you didn't learn about the central office's executives had received the CSIs until alerted by VA CFO on September 13th, 2023, despite specific requests regarding the planned use of incentives in the months before they were awarded. This is the second time that there's been a major incident that you were unaware of, but to your credit, both times you did start trying to put some actions in place to address it. I understand there's approximately 400,000 employees at the VA, and you can't know everything. However, has there been any consideration in changing some of the internal processes to ensure that you're made aware of these things earlier to prevent issues like this from even happening?
Look, I think this is why we changed delegation in September. The chairman pointed that out several minutes ago. This is why we are reviewing the entire process on these. And this is why I'm trying to create, I want to create, and this is why I think it's important for me to be here today to demonstrate to our workforce that I own this and I want to be in a position where I'm hearing directly from them because I'm here accountable to you.
So my understanding is that you canceled the CSIs to 182 VHA and VBA, VACO SESs, but did not cancel the CSIs to the 197 field executives.
Correct.
So why did you not cancel the CSIs for the 197 field executives? And why did we not, at a minimal, not reevaluate them utilizing the formal procedure that was put in place?
Thank you for the question, Mr. Rosendale. We're obviously reviewing this. This is one of the recommendations that the Inspector General has put to us. By the same token, we have begun to to review and had begun to review those field CSIs.
So had
And
they been
frankly-
notified that the 197 that we have not rescinded those bonuses? Had they been notified that those bonuses and the procedure that was utilized to award them is being reviewed?
Remember that these were two different procedures, okay? And that's the point I was just about to make, which is that the justifications for the field CSIs overwhelmingly, now I'm not ready to opine on this completely because the review is ongoing, but the evidence to date suggests they were handled in a process much more consistent with the policy that we laid out in 2023, meaning with individual justifications based on those individuals with specific market analyses to make the case that this is a particular skill in those markets to keep those personnel. And this is broadly speaking, a category of executive that we've been talking to the committee about as an agency for many years, including years before I got here, because we have churn among network directors and VAMC directors. And so I think I have believed and continue to believe that those investments are important to keep that critical leadership cadre. In fact, we've also invested in additional executives, not through incentives, but by creating additional executives in the field so that there are deputy network directors. So that the network director in 19, for example, Sunena, was able to be elevated with a firm succession plan after our earlier network director, Mr. Gallucci, retired. Our ability to have...
My time has expired, Mr. Secretary, and I'm going to yield back before I put myself in the trouble.
Complete side note, it's pretty ballsy that the secretary would make an argument for more executives, talking about deputies under the executives for during the VA bonus scandal hearing. I find that hilarious. Now, what I want to do is show you, I'm not going to show you this OIG report. I'll pin that video in the comments. I already did that, but the VA has a supplemental memorandum, and I'm going to paraphrase here my opinion. Dr. E, which is the Undersecretary of Health, basically said he didn't know what was happening. Okay. Is that an excuse? Absolutely not. That's what a Lance Corporal or specialist would say in the Marine Corps and the Army. Not the Undersecretary of Veterans Healthcare. But what we're going to do is look at the supplemental memorandum because it says a different story. I'm just going to show you one paragraph. I'm going to have all these links down below in the pinned comment. I'm going to read a few sentences and end it here. As a result of the subsequent analysis, the OIG has determined that the Undersecretary for Health, that's Dr. Ellenhall, Dr. E, may have had other direct reports recommended for a CSI payment for whom he was not authorized to act as the approving official. It gets better here. Specifically, Dr. Ellenhall, Dr. E, may have exceeded his authority to approve at least 10 CSI awards made to senior execs in the VA central office. What? The VA is exceeding their approval authority? Say it ain't so. But I'm going to have these links in the pinned comments below. You're going to see a link for TheCivDiv Online. You're going to see a link for the VA OIG report, the original and the supplemental. And yeah, that's about it. Till next time.